We're live. Batman o'clock. Lots to talk about today, so we're gonna get right to it. It's Tuesday is the word on the street. I'm joined once again, as I always am on these days, with Steve and Scotty, the double S team. How's it going, guys? Thanks for joining me. Tuesday.
Heck yeah, man. DC doing stuff and things.
doing a lot. Steve right away was like, it's a very DC heavy show today. And
so I got nothing.
He's got nothing, but it is a DC heavy show today. But there is one. But the reason I would suppose for it is that they have something to prove, whereas Marvel's like, you're going to enjoy Doctor Strange 2, cameos, blah, blah, blah. We got a lot to talk about today, though, so we got to get right to the facts. This is what we're talking about on the show today. Chameleon news just dropped. We got some email questions to answer. Spider-Man might never be coming back again. They're maybe never, ever in a movie whatsoever. Peacemaker, I don't know if anyone saw the Peacemaker finale, but Justice League was present. DCEU apparently has a plan. Doctor Strange leaks. Henry Cavill is in the Flash or not, we don't know. And of course the Batman, which is released in like a week today, guys. 1 week today, people will have seen the Batman. Not us. Well, I don't know about Scotty, but not us.
Oh, I'm trying. I'm going.
There you go. I can't see it on that day, even if I tried. But here we are, a week away from the Batman. So we got to get right to it. Let's go. The Chameleon has been cast for the new Craven the Hunter movie. Fred Heshinger is going to play the Chameleon in Sony's Craven the Hunter film. Scotty, how well do you know the Chameleon? Do you know this actor at all? And does this make you any more excited for the Craven the Hunter film?
The actor doesn't look familiar to me offhand. Has he been in other things? I'd have to Google him. But Chameleon as a character is cool. Being able to camouflage, things like that. I'm curious if Craven is going to hunt him. Because, they have a lot of rogues gallery of villains. And in comics, historically, they always fight before...
Yeah.
Because they're both villains, they both have agendas, but I think it would be cool if he teamed up with them afterwards. You know what I mean? They have to test their powers against each other, something along those lines. The actor they picked for Craven, he's the kid from Kick-Ass, right?
Yeah. Kick-Ass. Yeah, it's Kick-Ass.
He is going to crush it. It's funny. He got a little taste of it when he was Quicksilver, and I think he got hooked into like being a part of a bigger universe. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you might be right. I mean, he was really good in Kick-Ass, I thought, and then he went on to become the only Marvel character to die that was not a villain. I go, technically right. Maybe he was at some point a villain. Steve, Chameleon, how familiar are you with Chameleon? And other than, karma, Chameleon. And Craven the Hunter. Are you looking forward to Craven the Hunter at all?
I am actually, yeah, because that's one that it's going to be kind of like Venom, where they have to create a whole different backstory for him. Because I don't think they're going to be able to do what they did in the comics, like they did with Venom. So I have a feeling it's going to be a different take on the character. That's why I'm not entirely convinced that he's facing Chameleon. I could see it being Chameleon might be part of the organization that hires Craven for whatever reason, or brings Craven to the city for whatever reason Craven's in the city for. So I'm not convinced he's necessarily going to be an opposition force for Craven.
I don't have the Deadline article in front of me, guys, but I believe in it reports that Chameleon will be Craven's brother in the movie, and no one knows who Russell Crowe is playing. Yeah, that look, Steve, I think sums it up. No one knows who Russell Crowe is playing, but rumor has it that Russell Crowe will be the father of Craven the Hunter, which is kind of like that casting, actually, if that's the case. So we don't know about that. But the rumor that they could be making Chameleon the Craven the Hunter's brother, how does that make you feel, Steve? Let's start with you on this one. Are you in with that?
I'm down for it. That's fine. To me, the characters weren't as big as some of the other Spider-Man characters that we've seen before. So if they want to take some liberties with the character backstories, it's not offensive to me.
Scotty?
I was doing homework because I was gonna say I thought he was related to somebody, and I, for whatever reason, thought it was the Scorpion character, but no, it would make
Gargan?
sense. Half brother of Sergei Kravinoff.
There you go.
Yeah, comic accurate.
I don't know if it's in the comics, but in the old Spider-Man cartoon, wasn't Chameleon from the Soviet? I think, or was he? He was from overseas anyway. Like he wasn't based out of Africa.
Russian.
Yeah. So that makes, like I said, interesting spin on the character to make them brothers, but I'm okay with it.
Right now you've got Craven the Hunter, Chameleon, Venom. Let's throw Carnage in there. Morbius is coming up with it, and you have Madam Web. All of those are coming in this Sonyverse right now of the Spider-Man stuff. Do you think that this universe can live without ever introducing Spider-Man, or at some point is Spider-Man, whether it be Tom Holland, Andrew Garfield, or Tobey Maguire, like someone's got to show up in this universe? Do you think it needs a Spider-Man, or can it live on its own without it?
I think it can live on its own. I think it will succeed more if it has a Spider-Man character to play off of. And you mentioned those three actors, those three Spider-Mans. It's the multiverse. You can any Spider-Man you want, you've got. So it could, if they can't get Tom Holland, if they can't get Tobey Maguire, well, hey, let's just bring up Miles Morales. There's lots of options.
I'll be interested to see.
I'm kind of down with a Miles Morales showing up.
Yeah, he needs to soon. I feel like that's the way that they have their Spider-Man and our Spider-Man long term. And I was gonna say that I'll be curious if Sony movie events show things like the Snap or more recent events. And when I think about Craven and the Russian descent of this guy, like they're all very similar in age to Wanda, etc. So were they in Russia, or were they around the events of the first Avengers movies? If they're really going to try to multiverse all of this, and Tom Holland's going to be a greater part of it, like some of these movies, we don't know if Morbius takes place in the MCU or not. So where Morbius does Craven take place?
Yeah, Morbius is so confusing because of the Michael Keaton factor, the Vulture from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, right? But then he mentions Venom. Venom like we talked about a couple weeks ago. Very confusing.
Yeah, signs here and there.
Yeah, but not as confusing as DC. We'll say that right now. Not that confusing. Let's go on to we have an email question now. We have two email questions. The first question is, hey, Digital Charcuterie, I know you're looking forward to Batgirl. I've talked myself into this movie, by the way, guys. So I was wondering if you saw the pic of Jacob, is that Scipio with Batgirl? He is playing Dick Grayson. What do you think? Thank you for reading, Carly. So there isn't there. I thought I had the picture. I don't seem to have the picture.
Me that one.
Yeah,
I know. I don't send pictures. Where is? Hold on. I think I have a picture of the actor.
Only Nerds. So we have a Dick Grayson sighting, huh?
Dick Grayson sighting. I thought I had. Oh, here we go.
He's a highly underrated character in Titans, I will say.
Yeah, I actually like his
Titans
portrayal, and I think the actor they got is really, really good as him as well. So it's okay. It's not. Let me get in this picture here. We're working on it. Technical difficulty. I'm terrible at this stuff. I don't know what's going on.
All good. It's such new stuff too. Like new things are hard to find because they get scalped. These Sony snipers are out here. Disney.
There is a picture going on. There is a picture of that actor that they did mention in their Scipio, I believe is his name. So, but it was quickly removed from the person who got it. It was a picture of actually a monitor, a film monitor.
Oh yeah, see, so that kind of stuff will like a legitimate from behind the scenes type thing, they'll come after you for that kind of stuff.
Yes, they absolutely will. So we're
I
not
think
going to
she's
show it.
gonna
But
be
anyway,
really
here's
good,
the.
though. Like the Batgirl actress, like I feel like she's gonna own that. It's gonna be really cool.
But do you think Dick Grayson, Titans aside, do you think this is the move for Dick Grayson? You throw Dick Grayson in a Batgirl movie and then let him branch out from there?
It is almost leaning towards Gotham Knights. Batgirl, Dick Grayson. If Dick Grayson is in play, like are there other Robins out there? Black Canary, I feel like, is a character that can vibe very well with a Dick Grayson type.
Yeah, for sure.
Could they skip the Robin stage and bring him in as Nightwing?
I think you could. I really
Mhm.
do, and I think Marvel is where you look at that right away.
Mhm.
I mean, Ant-Man, they went for the second Ant-Man before the first Ant-Man, and there's no reason if you establish Batman as Michael Keaton's Batman, then you can do whatever you want with Dick Grayson. You can say, oh yeah, well, there was a 30-year period where Dick Grayson could have been Robin, and then he branched off at some point and become it. And, people would argue, but a backstory, but it's just a line of dialogue that you have someone say. We've seen it time and time again where they throw in a line of dialogue and all of a sudden all the questions that we have are answered in that moment. So I don't know if this actor is playing Dick Grayson. I don't think he is. I think he's just, but actually, interesting enough, guys, he apparently, when his casting was announced, he was billed as a co-lead with Leslie Grace as Batgirl. He's listed as a co-lead. And that kind of, I haven't, but if you Google the movie, he's not really mentioned all that much. It's very hard to get any information on him. No one knows who he's playing, so it could be. But a point earlier is a great point to put Miles in You Cowards from Rez.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And they kind of tease it at No Way Home, right? They tease going into Miles Morales. Speaking of Spider-Man, let's go into Spider-Man talk right now. We're moving along. Spider-Man No More. Tom Holland, in a recent interview, said that, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I can't remember who it was from. Did I write it down? Probably not, because I'm not like that. But he said that he kind of wants to take some time off from acting. He's doing an Apple TV, Apple Plus, whatever it's called, series right now. When he's done doing that, he wants to take some time off. He wants to start a family. He wants to have all of that. And on the flip side of that, Andrew Garfield was just talking about Spider-Man, and he said he's 38 years old, and he thinks he's too old to be playing Spider-Man from now on. So how do you guys think? We just talked about, Craven the Hunter, maybe Spider-Man popping up in there, maybe Miles Morales, but how do you incorporate Spider-Man now in the MCU? Because making over $1 billion, third highest grossing movie domestically of all time, you cannot pass up Spider-Man, Scotty.
Yeah, I think Tom is getting really good at playing both sides of this whole contract thing. I don't think he meant anything really by if I'm playing Superman if I'm playing Spider-Man until I'm 30, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I think he wants to do other projects, and he's proven now. I mean, I haven't seen Uncharted, but numbers speak for itself. Like, he might be Sony's new breadwinner.
Star.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I haven't seen his movie with Daisy Ridley, but I do kind of want to go back and revisit that.
It's on Amazon Prime. I haven't seen it either. That one had a lot of problems. And that was Doug Liman, I believe, who did Swingers for all.
And it's a very weird plot especially for the time we live in. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know anything about it really. Interesting.
But Tom is Spider-Man, man. The only other person that I really think can be like a long-term Spider-Man is Tobey as the mentor of a Miles. So I think that's what Sony should do with their Miles, is introduce Peter at the end of his time with Mary Jane. Keep it very accurate to their Spider-Verse movie they did, if they want to do it that way, with a couple little twists that are more familiar to Tobey. But I think the Tobey could be the older Spider-Man that, gets taken out by a Kingpin and inspires their Miles Morales to take the place.
Old man Spidey.
I like that idea.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that idea. Why not? I mean, we're in such a fun time now with superhero and comic movies and just movies as a whole, because we've never been in this scenario before, right? It was Superman the movie, Batman, and then X-Men, and then Spider-Man. And you had to wait. And then when Iron Man came out, MCU became a thing, right? It took years, and we've never been in this situation where these movies have kind of advanced. You know, like Christopher Reeve was Superman 4 times, but that was it. You know, that was the end of that. And then Michael Keaton was Batman twice, and then he left, and they kind of connected, but not really. So we've never had these worlds where they just keep going on forever and ever and ever. And it's not like James Bond where you just replace the actors coming in and out. They keep these guys in all the time, and you got to see the turnover with Iron Man now gone and Captain America gone. And you know, it's curious to see how they're going to handle it going forward, and how far can they take this style of storytelling where there is just a turnover. It's like, okay, this is Spider-Man, Miles Morales, but at what point are they like, uh-oh, we gotta reset the franchise here? That's what I'm really, I don't want to get older, but I'm anxious to see in like 20 years where the MCU is and what it is.
Well, I kind of feel like they set up Spider-Man with the last movie to be, you know, he's back to being a local, you know, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. So in the grand scheme of things, if you're playing out the MCU, he's just, you know, you can pass some time by having him just, you know, references to, you know, Spider-Man saves the day in Bronx, or, you know, the little things, but doesn't get involved in the big world-ending events that we're going to see in the MCU. So I think they could buy themselves some time on that side of things. But it's more interesting to see where it'll play into the Sonyverse and how, you know, a lack of a Spider-Man would affect them. That's why I was thinking about, you know, call up Miles Morales, because that's your, you know, your ace in your pocket that you're waiting to call on when you need it. Or like you said, you know, old man Spidey. Or I'd be great with, you know, I don't think Andrew Garfield's too old for it. I know he said that, but he also said he wasn't in the last Spider-Man movie. There he was. So I don't believe a word he says. So I mean. And there's still that demand for seeing that grittier, little older version of Spider-Man that Andrew Garfield played, and now he finally got some closure. Let's see the next stage of that. So I don't think they're without options. I mean, it's funny that Tom Holland, you know, worked so hard to kind of bridge the gap between Sony and the MCU back when there was that big split. What was that? Even a year ago, 2 years ago, whatever that was. You know, Tom Holland played a big role in keeping all the pieces on the board together. So if he's I just don't see him being off the board entirely. I think maybe I'm not going to say a negotiating tactic or anything, but I think enough time will pass. We'll just be, you know, we'll say, oh, we kind of miss him. And then all of a sudden he's going to show up somewhere. I'm not saying in a feature-length Spider-Man movie, but he might show up somewhere.
Yeah, I'm always like, are we really supposed to believe he's not going to be in like Doctor Strange 2? Like him and Stephen Strange are potentially the cause of all that.
I'm not sure if Holland will be in Strange too. Honestly, no. He probably. I'm also not saying I don't think he won't be, or he will be. But I don't know. Here's the thing. I think we're gonna get Spider-Man in it. I think it's gonna be Maguire and Garfield possibly more than Tom Holland, because Tom Holland's Peter Parker doesn't exist. Everyone's forgotten Peter Parker.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be no. Aside from him going to Strange, right? That's my only thing, is like that could be their way to get him out and then bring the other two in. I actually have a question for you guys about if the possibility of 2 or 3 or 1 Spider-Man appearing in Doctor Strange 2. And we're going to get to Doctor Strange 2 in a little bit, but I want to bring this up while we're talking about Spider-Man, just the idea of maybe no more Spider-Man. But do you think if any of the Spider-Man appear in Doctor Strange 2 that will kind of cheapen their appearance in No Way Home, or do you think it adds to their appearance in No Way Home, or are you indifferent to it?
I think it kind of sets their appearance in Spider-Man sets the stage for this. So if they start out by showing us the other Spider-Mans, then when we see Tom Cruise as, you know, Iron Man, it'll kind of make more sense. You know, they kind of set the stage, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. I feel like Marvel's next play with the Spider-Verse, they have to go big or don't really do it at all, because Sony is going to start to develop their own. Yes, exactly. And Sony is going to start developing their own Spider-Verse type of thing with Madam Web, etc., etc. So I don't think too much Spider-Man stuff will come into play in MCU land until we get into these bigger like Secret Wars threats again. Maybe Sony now establishes their own Sinister Six over there with Craven as the lead, and he needs help to get to Spider-Man. But I think it'll be a while before there are like integral parts of the Spider-Verse intermingling with like what's going on in the multiverse. I think if they're smart, they try to keep that as isolated as possible. And maybe even like the third, I always envisioned the third Andrew Garfield film to be the way, and I keep saying it, the way that Venom crosses over or something like that, because with the symbiotes, anything's possible. And if you want to add stakes to it, you do technically could use a Spider-Man that Venom takes out, for lack of a better word, to make him more of a villain. But it's confusing what they want to do with Venom. Still not really sure where his allegiances lie.
I think that's partially because they need Venom to be their hero, but he's an anti-hero. So they're having, I think, I haven't seen Let There Be Carnage. I will. I promise you guys I will see it next time we talk about it.
Yeah,
I want to. I know I want to.
fun.
I just I haven't had a chance to. That's the only thing. But I will watch it because I love Venom. I love Carnage. I can't wait to see it. I love the idea that they could cross paths, and then the end credit scene in No Way Home was great, I thought, and that opens the door to your theory, Scotty, about the Null. And I don't think Spider-Man's gone entirely. I hope he's not gone entirely. Miles Morales, to me, though, is their key. That's like you said, Steve. That's their ace in the hole. They've got him waiting in the wings. They just have to figure out when they want to use him. And maybe that's a Spider-Man for the Sonyverse. Yeah, Scotty.
What if the Craven movie introduces Miles? Because we've seen Feast trucks, right? In the screenshots for Craven. They keep kind of little hints towards like the what is it? It's not a halfway house, but it's like a shelter. Is it a shelter or are they just a fundraiser for the community? But it's a big part of the video game too. So I feel like they're really gonna just go all in on all that stuff.
And don't forget the video game is the universe in which Morbius takes place in, as we know from that Spider-Man picture.
Saw that. They that was very weird, and that's what I'm saying about Morbius. Something is going on with that character, and I dare say he has cross-dimensional abilities. So, like, is Morbius not in control of his power? And he's accidentally literally jumping into other Sony things. I don't know.
Steve,
he's like a Nightcrawler, I guess, in that regard. And I really have to like go on to the official site and look up his stuff again. But I want to say I found a Marvel card or something where he's able to go in and out of dimensions. That's how he phases. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I don't know much about Morbius, so if you're telling me that's one of his powers, that explains it. That could work.
Yeah. Yep.
I
go all in with that Morbius character, man.
I'm telling you right now, I was not looking forward to Morbius, and I think the delaying is actually making me more intrigued in this movie as we go. I don't know what it is, but I see that poster, the most recent poster that we almost talked about last week, and I was like, this looks like a cheap poster and like a ripoff of Shang-Chi. But then I was like, but there's something like, I don't know. Now I'm kind of into it. So we'll see where that one goes. We got another email question that I forgot to get to because I'm just horrible at doing this. Here's another email question that has come in. Glad I found your channel. Thanks. Glad you found it too.
Hey.
And thank you for taking emails. Yep. Do you think the Penguin will ever be a big bad in a Matt Reeves Batman, or will he always be a mid-level gangster with other members of the Rogue Gallery being the main bad guys? Thanks, and may the force be with you, Anastasia. So, Scotty, I'm going to start with you. What do you think? Do you think Penguin could ever be the next Riddler, or is he always just going to be kind of like...
I love this question.
Yeah, maybe not like a secondhand villain, but, not... the big bad.
The Penguin is that character that's always been crapped on. His parents crapped on him. His whole life, he's been like the outcast. That's why he does all the things he does. And we talked about it, I think, last week about how the Riddler's going to do that same thing, dude. He's just a pawn in the Riddler's game. So I really could see, and I mean, not for nothing, they cast Colin Farrell. So we can't that can't be understated. The dude transformed his entire body for this role. I think it would be very cool if Penguin's one of the first ones, just bing bang, taken out real super quick, put in jail, locked up, and then has a come up. I really liked his come up in Gotham, the show. And I think that maybe they're kind of using the hype of that character in the show, and maybe the storylines kind of align a little bit here.
And they are doing a
question,
Penguin
though.
HBO
Awesome.
Max. A Penguin HBO Max show is also coming too. You can't forget that. Steve, what do you make?
Well, I think I said last week that I feel like this Penguin's kind of at the tail end of his, the twilight years of his career as a mobster. And Scotty, you said it great that if he gets arrested, if he gets locked up, then what's next for him? Well, he's got to rebuild his life. He's been on power. He's been in power for so long. Got taken out by Riddler. Got pushed aside. So that's what could lead into the HBO series. Is that him trying to matter again, trying to become relevant, trying to take back what was taken from him. So I could see that.
What if they take a part out of Marvel and how they're tying all these shows together? So I could see the other show, the Gotham PD show, ending with his escape.
No.
So it's not a bad idea.
I love that they're doing this HBO Max universe because it is just giving me deja vu with the animated stuff. Their animated stuff, they crush, and all the stuff that's related, even the stuff that's not call me crazy, but Ninja Batman, top tier, dude. Lord Joker. If you guys have not seen Ninja Batman, it's a cartoon animated version.
Yeah,
plenty of places. It's very easily found. But you guys should watch that if you're DC fans. It's amazing.
Let's go right into our next topic, the state of the DC films. This is from Casey Blois, who's executive over at HBO Max. One of the things that Ann Sarnoff has been big on is trying to make DC work in a more organized and integrated way. It wasn't there before, but the people at HBO Max, Warner Brothers, and DC are trying to be mindful about how all the pieces work together. In my estimation, it feels very well organized. And I wanted to go right to this question because of what we were saying about the Penguin and the HBO Max show and the HBO Max Gotham universe and the HBO Max Batgirl universe and the HBO Peacemaker universe, which we'll talk about in a little bit. It seemed to tie into the DC universe quite well at the end, but Steve, let's start with you. You hear this because you are the most conflicted on DC. You're just not conflicted, but you just are I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I care what's going on.
The Sweaties don't either, so don't feel bad.
No, but you see this though, and take everything in the past aside. Does this give you any reassurance that going forward there may be some connective tissue to what's going on?
All I can say is it's about time. That's something that I need. I need someone somehow to put these all together so I can make sense of them. So if that's the direction they're finally going for, I couldn't be any more ecstatic about it because I rack my brain. I used to have hair here. I rack my brain trying to figure out how things connect, or how they don't connect either, right? You told me Joker is a standalone film. Okay, that's great. I understand Joker is a standalone film. I can get behind that. But when there's so much ambiguity, I don't know. So if they're trying to pull it together, I'm for it.
Yeah. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but Michael Keaton's in Batgirl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he's on for 3.
They're setting up Gotham Knights. That'll be a trilogy of movies for her, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, and Dick Grayson, with Michael Keaton as the mentor team lead.
I think they're going to throw in Black Canary in that team as well.
Yeah, and she could... I'm not familiar with all of the X-Force groups of DC, but she could be a part of another A team or a list of people. Yeah, it's gotta be Gotham Knights though.
I agree with that too. I think my thing is that I love Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel, and I really like Batman and Superman, and I thought Zack Snyder's Justice League was fantastic. But My thing with Man of Steel though is it felt like, especially with Marvel at that time, where Marvel was still young, right? But everyone was kind of all in on Marvel. It was the wrong movie as your starting out point. That is not. It wasn't the universe that you kick off on, and I love Zack Snyder. I think it's fantastic. But Zack Snyder, and look, I know he's got Rebel Moon coming out, and that was a rejected Star Wars pitch.
I'm excited to see
I
what
don't
that's
think
about.
I'm excited too, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's probably going to be a good movie, but it wouldn't be a good Star Wars movie because he's too. Zack Snyder has a very specific style and flair, and either you
Mhm.
like it or you don't. Right? There's
Mhm.
very little middle ground on that. And
For sure.
and then when he was first hired to direct it, I thought it was a strange choice because Christopher Nolan was like, it's a realistic one. I'm like, but this is the guy who did 300 and Watchmen and what's that one I'm thinking of, the girls and the what's that one?
Oh yeah,
How come
Sucker
I can't think
Punch.
of it now? Sucker Punch, yeah,
Sucker
Sucker
Punch.
Brock
Really,
Brock loves
really
Sucker
good
Punch.
movie.
It is a good movie. Brock loves it. We saw it in the theater. But those movies are very
Ooh.
stylistic. They're very stylized, right? They're over the top style. And I don't think that works for Star Wars. And so I think it's smart. I think let him do his Rebel Moon and let that branch off into its own shared universe, like Army of the Dead. Like I'm cool with that. But he's so specific in the style and tone that even Wonder Woman had a lot of that style and tone. And then when he wasn't there for Wonder Woman 2, that was all gone. There's a good mix, I feel. But for me, that was the wrong kicking off point. You kind of let him be the Feige of it, but he wasn't really because he had people telling him no. So there was obviously a lot of conflict there. I mean, the Batman and Superman movie, if you look at the theatrical one versus the extended one, it's a good movie versus an okay movie. And then Justice League is like they greenlit a 4-hour movie, whether they want to admit it or not. That was the script that they greenlit. And I do think it's too long to be theatrical for sure. I think it's perfect for HBO Max, but that's not how you kick things off. I think that's what he's alluding to here in this statement is like, we started there and it wasn't really a plan. We just kind of started with a movie and then we were like, well, that movie's going to start it all, even though I don't think it ever was meant to start it all. And now they're like, okay, let's take a step back. They have the Flash. They can reset whatever they want, and they can take a step back, take a seat, and just be like, this is what we're doing. The other thing, guys, is the multiverse. I think Marvel's going to take the multiverse and kind of have like a contained story with it, but I think DC is going to embrace the multiverse. And here in Canada, we have a streaming service called Crave. And if you look at the DC film, they have a playlist and it's called the DC Multiverse on Crave. And it's just every DC movie ever made is just on that thing. And you just watch it. It's the multiverse. And I think they're going to embrace that more. And Steve, to your point I think they'll be like, this is the Joker movie that doesn't take place in the universe. And this is the Batman movie, which takes place in this universe. And there's going to be more structure to how this plays out, but they're also going to have the freedom to do whatever they want because of this established multiverse in the Flash. But Scotty, how wrong am I? Tell me no.
No, I love the way that DC does their multiverse. It's almost safer because they use crisis events or they use like cosmic things that happen caused typically by Barry Allen to change everything. So whereas Marvel is tied to the continuity even throughout multiverse, like it's even more complicated. They have to make sure that a change that affects that universe affects all the other ones in a way that's not going to mess up future plot lines, where DC just has a reset button. I think the Flash movie is going to be pretty interesting, and I'm almost kind of leaning towards like it won't be a Flashpoint, but it might end in Flashpoint.
Yeah, you mentioned that last week.
Yeah,
that is intriguing.
We'll see, because Keaton and Affleck both have to be in that. So in my opinion, it's either gonna start with one and end with the other, or keep them like one of them is just gonna have a one scene climactic type thing. I think it's Affleck. But.
Yeah, me too. I saw a post, and we showed the pictures last week of the set photos of Batgirl, and they're like Michael Keaton's stunt double on the streets. And there was one image, and I'm pretty sure it was a fake. It had Ben Affleck's Batmobile on the street. I'm pretty sure it was just photoshopped in there. And I was like, ooh, that would be tough. I'm hoping we get the 89 Batmobile to return in it. Steve, any other thoughts on the DC state of DC? Are you gonna become a huge Aquaman fan now?
Next question.
You guys
You
see
know
the
what though?
end?
You know what though? You did enjoy Shazam, and
I
Black
did.
Adam's coming out, which should connect to Shazam, and then Shazam could
Yeah.
connect to other movies going forward. So maybe they're using the movies that they know that the mass population enjoyed, like Shazam, and they're going to say, okay, let's center around that and let's bring it all in on that world. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That's
It doesn't matter if you're okay; it's happening.
it. Well, there you go. I was just
Heard it
thinking.
here first.
It's a little off topic, but I was just dwelling on: are we ever going to see a payoff to the ending of Justice League, where you kept seeing the visions of Flash's future, or the future where Batman is teaming up with the Joker, and in the script? Are we ever going to see a payoff to that?
Nightmareverse, yeah.
Yeah, like they set it up, and they're like it's looking very unlikely they're going to be able to deliver on that. But that's just what I was just kind of hung up on. It's like, with all these different multiverse stories that could play, or not multiverse, Flashpoint stories, are we actually going to see that one play out, or are they just say, oh no, we prevented it by such and such happening?
You know what's crazy about that whole thing is I remember when Justice League was being finished, the Zack Snyder one, and everybody was all about it, clamoring for all the stuff. Grace Randolph had him on her podcast numerous times. And she said that through talking with actors and hearing things that both Jared Leto and Ben Affleck said they would gladly return for anything related Joker or Batman, that as long as it involved Zack Snyder. And I remember her saying something along the lines that like the future of the Joker character is reliant 100% on support for the Zack Snyder like story. That's where they want that Batman to go, into that nightmare scenario.
I saw a tweet. I don't think it was from anybody specific, and I just kind of read it, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." But I'm gonna propose it to you both here. And it said, I think the specifics were in 3 years' time, HBO Max series that takes place in the Snyder nightmare sequence. And it's a series, and then the person was like, he doesn't direct them all, blah, blah, but that's beside the point. Who cares? Do you guys think is there potential for that? Do you feel that because I think if Snyder I don't think he's going to come back unless there's a big change, and that big change could be HBO Max, because he really seemed to enjoy working with HBO Max with the Justice League. Do you think there is the possibility that we see a series, miniseries, or a standalone movie about Zack Snyder's Justice League sometime down the road?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right,
let some
happen.
of these make some money off these other HBO Max shows, and I feel like it's just gonna snowball. And yeah, give me all that. I think Zach would have a great time as an executive producer, not even having to, like you said, direct everything.
Just showrun it. He did that on his driveway too, right? That and the Green Lantern, which ended up being Martian Man. He did that on his driveway in his backyard or whatever. Yeah. So just make the HBO Max in his backyard, like Robert Rodriguez makes Spy Kids in his basement. He can make that in his backyard. Steve, what were you gonna say?
I don't know.
No idea. All right, actually, let's go on to Peacemaker now. Peacemaker had the ending. If you haven't seen Peacemaker, you're gonna want to skedaddle right now, because we're going to talk about the ending of Peacemaker here, where the Justice League made a triumphant presence. I thought it was great seeing them on the show after 8 episodes of Peacemaker knocking them down, talking smack about them. The Justice League showed up, but it wasn't the full Justice League. It wasn't. It was Wonder Woman, of course, Aquaman, The Flash, and Superman. And we have a picture of some of the stunt doubles, the body doubles that portrayed these characters right here. Obviously, Jason Momoa and Ezra Miller were there. Ezra Miller now has the most appearances as a Flash, as a DC character than anybody else in the films. Ooh. And here they are right here. We have a Superman, we have a Wonder Woman, and we have a Batman. And the Batman actually posted this. He said that there was Batman and Cyborg were both in it. And he said it was unfortunate that he was cut, but obviously it wasn't up to him. He had the time of his life doing it, and you'd have to ask James Gunn and WB why Batman wasn't there. So anyway, did you guys like the ending of Peacemaker? And do you think that it would have? Do you know why Batman's not there?
I mean, I think I know why.
Do you mean story wise why he's not there, or real world why he's not there?
all of it. Well, real world. Well, I mean, he was there. They rubbed him out in post, so he was there. But Scotty, why isn't Batman in the scene? Come on, hit me.
It's just that they don't want to tell stories about that Batman. I think it's kind of as simple as that. They want to move away from the Justice League. I feel like the only reason this did get put in there is because they filmed it on a Marvel set. I heard that, Marvel came in and assisted with this final scene. And that is true, I guess. So it would make sense that James Gunn would try to put Superman and all these people on the set at Marvel, probably not even telling Warner Brothers at first and then just presenting the material. And they were like, yo, yeah, this scene is amazing, except, and they just take a little eraser and like throw a spotlight behind Wonder Woman so you can't tell it's her, and have Superman flying in the shadows. It's just so, I don't know. I want to get too negative about it, but it's very frustrating as a DC fan who enjoys all of it. The distractions with like Ray Fisher and all that stuff. It's just, I will never take Warner Brothers seriously because of that. And not to just keep on it, but the Joss Whedon interview and all that stuff is just like, it's getting worse and worse, man. It's getting worse for me as a fan to stomach some of the stuff they do.
Yeah, for sure. I think you're see, I'm with you. I think I agree with you that's why they rub Batman out. They scrub them out because that's not their Batman. But at the same time, who cares? He was the Batman. He's going to appear in the Flash. So Steve,
every single thing they'll see, will just say restore the Snyderverse. So like instead of talking about Peacemaker, it'll be hashtag restore the Snyderverse. So they're just trying to avoid that.
Yeah, it's probably a good point. Steve, though, you see this, does Peacemaker take place before or after the Flash?
I'm thinking before. Yeah. Because I think Peacemaker takes place, a couple months away from the last Suicide Squad movie. So I think Flash is further down the line. I mean, I know I'm not upset that Batman wasn't there. Not every superhero had to be there to be the Justice League. They had 4 of them representing the Justice League. I'm fine with that. Like I said, there's other, we know there's other reasons why those characters weren't there, but they had enough with Aquaman, Flash, Wonder Woman, Superman. That's all they needed just to make it funny. That's what it was. It was a sight gag, right? It was, they built it up
amazing.
all season, right?
I love that scene.
Yeah, like it was great. It was hilarious. So it accomplished what it needed to accomplish with or without Batman.
And I think if people are interested, they should look the scene up because it really doesn't spoil the show. But it's just like something he keeps talking about the Justice League throughout the show, as in like, why am I doing this? Where are they? And so it's hilarious.
Yeah, no, it was a great job. It was a perfect send off to the season. And even if that was like the series, let's say finale, that was such a great send off for it. I'm okay with Batman not being there because when I watched, I was like, I clued into Batman and Cyborg not being there right away, but at the same time, I was like, well, maybe they had a fish to fry. But the Aquaman joke is what made it all, and then the Flash, and it was great. But we got to bring up the fact, guys, that Superman, that was 100% Henry Cavill's Superman. Like there was no disputing which Superman that was, and that's going to lead into our next topic. We're going to go to this one before we hit up Doctor Strange. We're changing around the order a little bit on this because this was a few years ago, guys. We're going to put this on the screen here. Henry Cavill was on a plane. See that? That's Henry Cavill on a plane. We're very, very specific. And then this at Crypt0dad_ put, that's awesome. A few weeks ago, I did some work on the new Flash movie. This is from like a year ago, I think. Here we go. August 2nd, 2021. A few weeks ago, I did some work on the new Flash movie with Superman and Batman on set at the same time. Boyhood dream come true. He then followed up with, geez, this got some engagement. No kidding. Sorry for not replying sooner, but I actually have a life outside Twitter. Yes, Cavill. Not saying anything else. Also, will be deleting the tweet, so you fanboys better screenshot it quick before it's gone. And no, I won't be getting fired. Recent reports, guys, have indicated that Henry Cavill Superman is not in the Flash, but it will be just simply news reports on the side. But looking at this from not even a full year ago, are the reports of Superman on a plane a lie? Or not on a plane, sorry, Superman on television and old reports with old footage from Man of Steel. Is that a lie? Are they trying to trick us? Are they deceiving us so that when he appears in the movie, we are shocked and surprised? And is Henry Cavill still in the DCEU or whatever you want to call it, Scotty?
I don't know, man. They're doing all this on purpose. It's like they're going as close up against the Snyder as they can without crediting him, and it's so annoying. It's like you can see it. Like we can all see what you're doing. Back when it was Shazam, and that the whole thing was Shazam, I'm okay with that because we didn't know if we didn't know we weren't getting Man of Steel 2 ever. So now it's just like when we know what the agenda is, and it's just like I'm an all or nothing right now. It's like, why are you towing the line so close to it instead of just being like, dude, why can't you come in and do mocap on your face for 5 minutes and don't just put a fork in that Superman. That's foolish to me.
Steve?
I got nothing.
He agrees with everything I said, actually.
Well, you made some good points. I don't know like you said, I don't know what to believe anymore, and that's how they want it to be. So I don't, I could speculate one way or the other. We're all going to find out eventually. So I'm just sitting back, and until I see it, I don't believe it. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I heard that Cavill wanted more money. That's what I heard. I heard Cavill. They brought him in, they offered him something, and he said, no, I want more. And I don't know if he wanted too much or they offered him too little. I also know, and I said this, I think I've said this every week we've done this now, I wouldn't blame him for not wanting to go back to that world of Superman because of the way Warner Brothers handled it and himself and everything around it. And even if you look at just Zack Snyder's Justice League, the press around it, Cavill was like nowhere to be seen on any of that, right? Like Affleck, like you said earlier, Scotty, was at the forefront. He's like, no, I love this. Jared Leto had more. I think they talked to Jared Leto more than they did to Henry Cavill during that whole thing. So it's very curious why he's keeping quiet. But also, look, he has The Witcher. He just signed on for something else that's big. He's Sherlock Holmes. He's got a lot going on. He doesn't necessarily need Superman. And if Warner Brothers were dicks to him, I'm all with him not wanting to come. Yeah, for sure. And I think they'll find a way to bring him back because he was a great Superman. He's a nerd, and I think he deep down wants to be Superman, whether he will admit that to himself or not. So we'll find out.
I'm waiting for DC to find their Robert Downey Jr.'s. Like Superman should be a character that can be put in portrayed 7-8 times by the same person. And where's your Iron Man mentality, DC?
They had that with Henry Cavill. They screwed the pooch off the get-go. And I think they thought they had that, Steve, when they cast Ben Affleck. I think they thought Ben Affleck was their Iron Man. He's in Suicide Squad.
Yeah. Would it be the end of the world if they just recast him and said, all right, it's the same Superman, but different actor, just get over it, move on, here we go. Is that out of line?
I know. I don't think it is, except for the point that Scotty brought up 2 seconds ago, restore the Snyderverse, which, and like I said, I love those movies to death, and I would be all in on more of them. But seeing that hashtag every 2 seconds, when James Gunn makes a movie, is restore the Snyderverse. This movie sucks. Yep. It's like, no, they can both be awesome. You don't have to choose one or the other. You don't have to review bomb Godzilla because of
Elmo. You don't have to attack Elmo.
Yeah, yeah. It's like come on. I don't. That's the problem. Is fans have somehow clung to Zack Snyder, and I think he kind of enabled it a little bit, but he got his way. He's like, now he needs like, you guys need to.
They'll just isolate it.
But
They'll just say, "Oh, this is Earth 99," and we'll never see it again.
yes,
and the Flash will establish that. Yeah,
and I think we're gonna get Val Zod as well. I think he's showing up at some point, and that's gonna be our Superman going forward. All right, let's move on to some strange news, guys. Woo! The Multiverse of Madness is a few months away. It is getting real out there, guys. The cameos, the speculation, it's all happening. People are excited for this movie. Scotty, you're not, because you hate all things comic books. Honestly, though, so the Batman trailer came up and it was massive. And then the Multiverse of Madness Super Bowl trailer is now about to, or it did surpass, I believe, in views, the Batman trailer, which is astronomical numbers. I think the Batman one has more likes, but that's neither here or there. They're both, I think, again, just like we said with James Gunn and Zack Snyder, you can like Marvel and DC also. You don't have to like one or the other. You can be equally excited for them both. But let's get into these wild cameos and why this movie is going to make $1 billion, Steve. Is it going to make $1 billion?
Well, that's a good question. I think in time, yeah, it could. It'll come close. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around all these cameos. I'm still not over Xavier. That's just that blew my mind.
Tip of the iceberg.
Right.
Iceberg.
And then I see there was a Captain Marvel variant that they're saying, like, I missed that entirely when I saw the trailer. I never noticed the Captain Marvel variant, so that was cool. And then we're hearing about Tom Cruise as Iron Man, and I mean, I saw something that talked about one of the Lego toys just spoiled some of the potential cameos. I don't know if that's
everything,
right? And Lego,
right?
yeah.
Yeah,
you look at Lego and then you're like, oh, this is why the Mandalorian was right in not having Baby Yoda merch that first season.
Yes. Yep. So even like I said, the Lego set just kind of like, I won't say it blew my mind because at this point I'm willing to accept anything. Throw any character at me, put them in that movie, and it'll make sense. I'm fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right.
I'm seeing things now of like crazy stuff like a Wolverine variant that isn't Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get into this a little bit first.
Yeah, man.
Right. Let's say first, I think it was last week, like right after we went off the air or the next day, My Time to Shine Hello on Twitter came up with a list, and the list was, for those of you who don't want to know, I suggest you just ignore us right now, but the list was
because Professor this literally could be true. A lot of this could
be true, but also grain of salt, right? It could not be.
Yep.
The first one's true, and I think this is where they want to get you. Professor X, obviously that's true. The second one, however, was not true a week ago, and it is true today. Disney Twitter pretty much confirmed that Captain Carter will be in Doctor Strange 2. Mm-hmm. Captain Marvel, but it's a different Captain Marvel. Mr. Fantastic, Black Bolt, Clea. Is it Clea? I'm not familiar with that character. No. Balder the Brave, and the craziest one of all is Magneto. So that's what leaker My Time to Shine Hello had to say a week ago. But also the Illuminati is now saying Wolverine is potentially in this. And the Illuminati, they're very hit or miss, but you never know. But also there's rumors going around town that Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, is in this movie because Tobey Maguire's Portuguese dub voice actor was in a studio with Elizabeth Olsen's voice double he was wearing a Spider-Man shirt with all three Spider-Men on it. So they're playing with us, like you said, Scotty. They're playing with us. They are leading us down the roads we want to see. But Scotty, talk about these cameos and any other cameos that you may have heard of.
The man, and she has actors too listed, already cast. So definite Captain Marvel variant. Not even our Monica Rambeau, a brand new actor. She's saying Black Bolt, coming from Inhumans, the TV show, same actor, is pretty big. Boulder the Brave is an old leak. So
Yeah.
just confirming that this movie is going to be as anticipated as the Spider-Man movie, if not more. And I would not put it past Marvel to have already put fake things in that first trailer. And I also wouldn't put it past them to kill all of the members of this Illuminati team.
You mentioned that last week. I really like that idea.
I don't think that their Professor X is going to be the Sony Professor X. I don't think any of their X-Men are going to be old cast. If they are, it's going to be for the shock and awe like now. And they need to establish Wanda as a omnipresent being that can exist in multiple dimensions at one time. Like she is, the Scarlet Witch is not a character that is duplicated through, like the Scarlet Witch does not have variants, I guess is kind of where I'm going with that.
Interesting.
Magneto is the most anticipated one for me though.
Even more than Wolverine or a Spider-Man. Well, you got
because he's her father, and I think that they will use Michael Fassbender as the father character to tie it all together, to go back to like, you know, you're a mutant, I'm a mutant, this is us, and that could drive her to the point of like, dude, no more mutants, you know. So we're all kind of waiting. I saw a really good theory that thinks we are already living in the House of M, and that this Scarlet Witch has already said no more mutants, and that's why they don't exist. So
yeah. Well, let's go, dude. Steve, what do you think?
Well, didn't we technically Wanda was in one of the X-Men movies, wasn't she? She was a kid.
Yes, and
so
Japan.
So there is, you know, that there's a variant right there. So it could be. I'm really curious how they're going to play out Magneto. That's the one that really had me shaking my head, because again, you know, which version of Magneto are we going to see? You know, we're talking about the younger version of him, but we're getting the old Professor X. So I don't know how Magneto was going to fit into things. You know, is he supposed to be sitting on the Illuminati? I don't know. So that's the one that I just couldn't wrap my head around. And also, even Black Bolt. You know, where does Black Bolt fit into things? Because is it the version that we saw on the show Inhumans, or are we gonna, you know, forget that and move on?
This leak is saying that it's the one from Inhumans. It's Anson Mount.
It is Anson. Okay.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So the leak says Patrick Stewart's Professor X, Haley Atwell, Captain Carter, Lashana Lynch, Captain Marvel, John Krasinski, Mr. Fantastic, Anson Mount, Black Bolt, Charlize Theron as Clea, and then the other two are Magneto. Though, Scotty, there's no actor's name next to Magneto in that in that leak. So that's curious. Deadpool is also one that people speculate he's in the poster, and Ryan Reynolds came flat out and said he's not in it. Steve, you're saying no. Scotty, what do you think? Are we going to get Deadpool in this movie, or does Deadpool not belong in these movies?
Doesn't belong.
Man, I mean, it's so hard now because he could have been here the whole time and just we haven't seen him because he's an X-Men type character. So I think it would be cool if he starts to replace like the Stan Lee in every movie cameos. That's an old fan favorite of a lot of people. But this, you know, the leaker, she's claiming Deadpool and maybe some of his friends. So who could that even be, you know?
Colossus.
Yeah.
Oh, Cable. I heard Cable.
See,
I heard Brolin might show up as Cable and Thanos in this, actually. That's what I've heard, yes.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna do some crazy stuff. I don't think anything is out of the realm of possibility. But again, like, the list is only the Illuminati members. Yeah. So again, to me, it's like, if all this information's already out there, it's kind of like throwaway type stuff. And they're showing them in trailers. Like, they like to misdirect us. Captain Carter, I think Captain Carter is the one that could outlast.
I not in that league, but in the Illuminati, if they're correct about Wolverine and what you said, that rumor you heard about, you know, we're in the House of M already, and she's made it that mutants don't exist and no one believes it. Wolverine could be the one standout in all of that, right? Wolverine could be the one. The tough part is it won't be Hugh Jackman.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be another actor playing the part, and that's what's going to be tough. It's almost like kind of wish they got to this a little bit sooner, and they were able to get Hugh Jackman in there for one last, as Vin Diesel would say, one last ride as Wolverine in this to kind of usher us into a new era of X-Men and the mutants. But it's exciting time. There's gonna we are 2 months away, still 3 months away from this movie coming out. The leaks are gonna come up tenfold. The excitement's gonna grow. The trailer's smashing on YouTube, and this is why we said DC, Steve, is everywhere right now because they need to be. They need to assure us that they know what they're doing, and Marvel's just here's some Doctor Strange, and it's gonna make $1 billion because the minute they don't think it's gonna make $1 billion, guess what? They're gonna show Fassbender's face. They're gonna show all these people's faces. They have that. They have all those cards up their sleeves, and they're ready to play them at any time. And they didn't play them for No Way Home. They never played those cards on No Way Home, and we still went.
I think we could probably see. I think they really could show every single member in a trailer of the Illuminati. Leading up to this movie, I think we could see them all eventually.
Okay, here we'll move on in a second, but I gotta ask because if this is true, and Krasinski plays Reed Richards in the Illuminati only, and he's not the Reed Richards that we're gonna have in the Fantastic Four movie, is that how do fans react to that?
Mine's quick. I think that's easy because he could be in the Council of Reeds, and then just be like a. Be the Reed of all Reeds, I guess.
All right.
The fan favorite.
Steve?
Yeah, I agree with Scotty on that one.
I kind of wanted to see him show up as Captain America when I thought that would have been fun.
Because he tried out for that, right?
Exactly. You got Cruz as Tony Stark, who's supposed to be Iron Man for 47 years, and then you got Krasinski as Captain America, who wasn't. You got the backup plan for both. All right, let's move on quickly to our final topic of the day, if I can find it. We're going to talk Batman because it comes out in 1 week, and I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but Boss Logic just did a poster for it yesterday. I think it's pretty sweet, and it might be on the screen now. This is the poster that's going with. This is my favorite poster for this movie. I've got to tell you, the posters I haven't been too crazy about going into it, but this one I love. I love you get the Riddler, you get Catwoman, you get it all. Steve, what do you think of the poster? And are you ready to watch the Batman for the next 3 hours of your life?
That's my first time seeing the poster, to be honest. Looks neat. Looks good. Sorry for my dog. Yeah, looks good. Am I going to see it? Absolutely. When? That's the question. Because I'm somebody I like to go opening night just no chance of spoilers, just no chance of having things ruined for me. So yeah, it looks good.
Scotty, what do you make of this poster?
Best Batman ever. I'm just laying it out.
Bold.
Get to the poster first, and then we'll let you hit the controversial stuff.
This movie is going to highlight Riddler, and I think Riddler is going to be trying to play all the villains against each other, and they're going to band together, and then we'll get an official rogues gallery for this Batman. But I love the setup and how they're just touching on each of these little villains and building up the relationships. And we're seeing a Batman who's not sure of himself already, now being tested by someone who's teaching him about himself. It's going to be a really good story. I respect Matt Reeves for the passion that he has for this project and how secretive he wants everything to be. It's cool.
I think it's funny what you just said because they're all the things I've been reading and listening and hearing in interviews is this isn't an origin story for Batman, it's an origin story for the villains. It's but the villain's origin story is going to create the Batman that we know and love's origin story. I think we're going to get a Batman, but he's not going to be the Batman. Kind of like with the Spider-Man movies that we just talked about. He wasn't our Spider-Man right away. It took some time to get there. And that's where I think we are with this Batman movie. I think it's going to be... I think this movie is going to get nominated for Best Picture next year, is what I'm going to think.
Visuals.
it's going to get nominated for cinematography. By the way, if you guys don't know, Batman Forever was nominated for Best Cinematography at the Academy Awards, and I believe it was, and I think this one's going to. It looks phenomenal. It looks absolutely breathtaking. That being said, the performances: Heath Ledger won an Oscar for playing the Joker, and Joaquin Phoenix won an Oscar for playing the Joker. The Joker may or may not be in this movie. I will tell you that I did get an email that is not on this show from someone who was able to see it last week in California. They watched it. They wouldn't give me any spoilers because
they saw this.
They saw your face. They saw the movie The Batman. They're not allowed to talk about it until the end of the month. They can't talk about it until the end of the month, but they did say they saw it, and they liked it, is what I'll say. They didn't give me any spoilers, so don't. Like I don't want it. I don't want them either. There's no spoilers. I do,
but I don't. It's so close now.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
but
eventually, you just go blacklist everything.
Yeah,
they left it off by just saying, "And the Joker, ha ha ha." That's how the email ended. So is the Joker in it? Is the Joker not in it? I'm going to be honest with you. All signs are pointing towards the Joker being in this movie, but I do not know. Not as a main character, but I think what you're saying, Scotty, is the most interesting part. Is that the Rogues Gallery will be created through the Riddler towards the end of this movie. I really love that. I love that there's a Rogue Gallery of Batman villains, and it's not just this is the villain today, this is the villain tomorrow. These are the villains, and they'll offshoot into their own stuff, but they are all in all. But controversy aside, this is a 3-hour movie. Clips are being released daily. Everyone's favorite Batman, depending on your age, is either Keaton or Bale. Affleck is squeezing in there, but I think there still needs to be like time to go by before he becomes anyone's actual favorite. I think he might be mine though so far. But let's get controversial here, Scotty.
All right. So we're talking Star Wars then.
Let's do hot takes on the Batman.
Hot take on the Batman.
We're getting into. I want to get to your point on Robert Pattinson being possibly, in your opinion, the best Batman.
Yeah, dude. I think people are so stuck in the Twilight era, and it's like he's not even a fan of those movies himself. He says it every damn time it gets brought up. So, no, it won't be twinkly vampire Batman. It's gonna be an actor who is rewarded, has like the list of things he's done outside of Twilight are underrated, in my opinion. The Good Son or something like that is one of my favorite movies he's been in. His brother
Good Son is actually with that's Macaulay Culkin and Elijah
Wood.
Oh,
you're right. This is like Good Brother, the Good Brother, something. Anyway, like he just has depth, and I think we'll be able to see it with this Batman character. I love the suit and the fact that the gun is the logo. Like that alone tells me what I need to know about this Bruce.
I thought Pattinson was fantastic in the Lighthouse. If you haven't seen the Lighthouse, he's great in that.
I haven't seen that.
And it's an interesting movie. You might not be able to get he's fantastic. Him and Willem Dafoe are the only two people in it really for the most part, and they go back and forth pretty heavy. And he's good. He's really good in Devil All the Time as well. Steve, do you think there's a chance that Pattinson will be nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards?
I couldn't tell you because I'm honest here. I've never seen a movie with him in it. I've never seen him act. So I'm going in for a completely clean slate on him. So yeah,
that's cool. Actually,
that'll be my way to tell. Ask me in a week.
All right, here we go. You know what? I got to tell you guys, I read the prequel novel. It's like 80 pages, 100 pages on that. I did read the prequel novel, and he has that black eyeshadow on his eyes. They give that an explanation in it. They kind of go into the origins of the Batmobile in it. The Riddler was featured heavily in it. Penguin is mentioned in it, as is Falcone. It's like a kid's book. It took me like 40 minutes to read. It's a good read. It's weird because this movie is definitely not a kid's movie, but this is like a book that when I was in like grade 5, I would be excited to read this book before I saw the Batman movie. You know, it's it's so strange like that. But it gives you insight into it. It tells you more about Wayne Manor, which is not going to be where Batman or Bruce Wayne lives in this movie whatsoever. Alfred teaches him. Alfred is a British intelligence officer, former British intelligence officer, and he teaches him ninjutsu, and he calls it Bruce Jitsu. But they keep Bruce Wayne traveling throughout the entire. Like he travels in his 20s. The book takes place from I think when he's 10 to like late 20s. Like this big
dang,
time
so
gap.
they give it
Yeah.
all.
I think it's small.
Well, do they
taste.
talk
It's only
about
like,
the death of his parents or no?
no, they're just dead. It's
Okay.
like they're dead, and it starts off in Wayne Manor, and Thomas Wayne is running for mayor at the time. Is how this book starts.
Yep.
And then a kid looks at Bruce, and Bruce smiles at the kid, and the kid does not smile back at Bruce. And that picture is in a trailer or a clip from the movie, and that's Edward Nashton, the Riddler, as a kid who is an orphan, and you find out he's an orphan, and
there's the connection.
Yeah, and he lives in Wayne Manor, and he actually, I don't know, Scott, if you're going to read it, you might want to mute me for a second, but
no, you're good, man.
He burns down Wayne Manor as much as he can before things in there. But the curious part, guys, is he burns down Wayne Manor, but he pulls the fire alarm before he sets it on fire so that all the kids get out safe. He doesn't want to kill the kids. He wants to go after
Wayne Manor's an orphanage.
Yeah, so they convert Wayne Manor into an orphanage, and they live in Wayne Tower. So in the movie, they're going to live in this tower called Wayne Tower, and and he burns down the orphanage.
In the trailer, they show.
Yeah, it happens.
They show it. So I really think that like Alfred it's not Alfred with him, it's the commissioner. So the commissioner and Batman are both walking through Wayne Manor, like burnt, whatever it is. But to me, it looks like that. And there's all the spray paint. And I think he says something like, "Why did you never tell me about this, Alfred?" Yeah. So there's something underneath Wayne. Manor.
Well, you learn that the Riddler just kind of hates the elitists in there, and I think you're going to learn that there's more to it than that, and there is a big corrupt underworld in Gotham happening, and the Riddler is trying to expose it, and to expose it, he needs to expose the Batman, because the Batman is protecting the city, but also in doing that, he's protecting the corruptness of the city at the same time. There's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be a lot of corrupt police officers. Awesome. It's going to be a great time. And I think that's what's going to make this HBO Max show all the more exciting. But if you can get your hands on that book, like I said, it's really quick read. It's like 10 minutes, like bam, bam, bam. You're in, you're out. But it felt like a good segue into the movie. It doesn't end right before the movie ends, but it actually ends with the phrase, "I am the shadows. I am shadows. I am vengeance. I am Batman." That is the last few words of the book, and that's in the trailer to his vengeance. So there you go. But anyway, the eyeshadow is in there, and because he's not Batman, but he is a vigilante for a little bit, and he puts the eye gook all on his eyes just to kind of like, and he wears a cap, just trying to like hide his face, hide his eyes so people won't recognize him, because he hates being Bruce Wayne, and he hates that people recognize him as Bruce Wayne.
Wow.
So that's that. So you guys can sleep on that. We're going to wrap it up. We went overtime today. I don't know if anyone has noodles boiling today, but it was a lot of fun. I will let you guys go. Thanks for joining me. Before we leave, though, Scotty, you want to plug your YouTube channel and tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, man, it's Hawks Holocrons. Pretty sure it comes up in search now. I've been doing this for a while. I just got Starlink as well, so I'm going to be doing a lot of streaming. Some gaming streaming, some solo talking about Star Wars theory mainly. So yeah, definitely come check me out. I think I'm pretty close to 200. So goals,
Let's get them to 200.
Yeah, man.
Steve, anything you want to plug?
I got nothing.
We're just going to plug Hawks Holocron. Go there. I got some live stream. It's a lot of fun there. So let's go there. But anyway, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks you all for watching. So much for watching. 1 week till the Batman, 2 months of Doctor Strange. And until then, may you be the master of your own universe.